Chris here. I'm going to go over some tricks you can do with body language to help deter people from necessarily getting aggressive with you without necessarily escalating it. If you live in a city, you often find yourself in situations like a bus stop or a laundromat, and someone comes around, they're acting weird, or a couple people are acting weird, and you're not sure if it's going to turn aggressive or if it's just people being weird. And, the thing is, it's often a situation where it's like, if you could leave, you would leave, but then if you miss this bus, you're not going to get to work on time, or your kids are waiting for you to pick them up after school. You don't have the option to just leave, right? So you have to figure out a way to deal with it, and you want to put yourself in a defensive position, without saying like, hey, I'm ready for a fight. So I found a couple things are really useful. The first thing is that I've seen videos where they talk about, yeah, you cross your arms, it just looks natural. I don't necessarily think crossed arms is a great way to go. It's easy to pin both your arms. It looks belligerent and standoffish. There's a lot of cultures or people who take it as like you're not listening to them. And some of the times when people are acting weird, what they need is someone to listen to them. Regardless of if what they're saying is making sense or their speech is so slurred you can't even understand it, if you just look like you're listening and you nod, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you say it again? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that hasn't been the case for me. That, you just do that. A lot of people will just, sort of just go, oh, okay, and they don't get aggressive. I'm not saying this is all time, but I've had this happen to me enough times that it's just like, looking like you're listening helps. But even as you look like you're listening, you want to be in a position that puts you with a little more defense, but not getting them hyped up. So I find the useful one for me is having one hand up. Getting one hand up near your face gives you, blocking and offensive actions without looking like I'm ready for a fight. Me, I've got like this beard, so it makes it nice for me to kind of sit there and play with it while I'm looking off in space or thinking, or someone talks to me, oh, yeah, okay. You can sit there and do that. Play with the earlobe, scratch your face. Oh, okay. You can do stuff like that. Rub your neck. Obviously don't go through all of these in a short period of time. Like then you look weird, or do it like, you want to look very natural. So it should be something you do sometimes, already. You may already do this sometimes. So it's like, oh, okay. You just take something that's close to what you do, and you're just doing it a little slower, maybe being thoughtful about it. If you have your cell phone out, you can sit there on your cell phone like this. If you've got earbuds in, when you can, pull out your earbud. Pretend there's something wrong with your earbud, you're really listening to something, or when the person comes up to talk to you, you pull it out and you sit there like this, right? So you have reasons to keep your hand up. Keeping your hand up gives you, options to do stuff. And, you can throw a hat over someone's, pull off the hat, throw it in their face, buy yourself a couple, second or something to do something with. So you have choices here. The second thing is, someone has engaged you, maybe they're 10, 20, 30 feet away, but they're in a range where you're like, I'm not sure about this. If you look straight at them, if you're facing straight on, it tends to say, hey, I'm looking at you, and that can cause trouble. But if you're facing too far away, you can't keep an eye on them. I think 45 degrees from the problem, aim yourself 45 degrees from potential situation is the best way to go. It works well, especially with the hand up. If you have your cell phone up, it's natural to scan this side. It's unnatural to scan that side. If you want to look this side while you have a cell phone, it's a thing that people just generally don't do, and it makes it obvious you're looking. You put a hand up or a cell phone up here, no one really trips. Everyone, of course, they're like, yeah, of course you look on this side. You just kind of look around like you're looking around while you're talking or whatever. And it makes it nice and easy to scan your eyes over whatever you think might be a problem without saying, I'm looking at you, If you do kind of need to keep a bead on them, and they're moving or circling, it's pretty nice and easy to kind of just, shift your feet. You can look down at the ground and look back up. That's a nice, way to kind of break it and make it look like you're just looking at random stuff while you're waiting. So that's a useful tactic too. Now, if someone comes into a range where, you're like, this might become a threat, you can do stuff. Like, obviously, if you get up and, walk away, then it looks a little weird. But there's some options you have. If you're on your cell phone, you can pretend, or if you're pretending to be on your cell phone, you can pretend like you're getting into something that's a little intense, and so you walk away, right? Like, yeah, no, mom's still in the hospital. You know what? Here, let me walk over here where it's a little quieter. And people just go, oh, okay. Of course, make sure you're not walking somewhere where it's like, darker and a better place to get jumped if something's going to go down. But it gives you a chance to walk a few steps away. Otherwise, you can stay in your position and just kind of shift around like you're just kind of like, looking at the ground, circling a little bit, and looking up. Gives you a chance to maybe change your direction. So those are all potential things. Now, if someone comes into your threat rate, into the radius where it's like, okay, this person might be a threat, and maybe they're engaging you, that usually happens is that someone will have something to say to you. And the thing I found is that two things will usually escalate. Holding eye contact for too long can escalate things, and never making eye contact will escalate things. So what I usually like to do is do brief eye contact with a lot of, I like to do shifting eyes when I'm outside. Like I look around like I'm looking at a bunch of stuff, And so when I look straight at them, it says, I'm willing to look at you, but since I tend to shift my eyes a lot, it doesn't look unnatural, like you're scaring me. It's just like, well, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. And then, oh, yeah, that's what I thought too. You can do this nice thing where it's enough eye contact that what the person's situation is that they need to be acknowledged as human, you've done that. If the person's situation is to where they're looking to bully someone, you've neither been so scared you can't make eye contact and you look like a target, or you've made so much eye contact it looks like a challenge. So that's a useful thing to do. If they're talking to you and you want to keep your eyes more on them, you can shift your eyes to their shoulders, to their chest, to just off to either side, and occasionally a little further off and back. Your peripheral vision is pretty good at picking up movements, so that's a very helpful thing. You don't have to stare at them, and not maintaining the eye contact too long also helps avoid them getting worse. Now, if it does come to aggression, the nice thing about staying approximately 45 degrees, or like they're talking to you, and you can maybe walk around, pace a little bit, also checking, because sometimes people get ramped up when there's more movement, especially if they have some kind of condition or chemical imbalance. It's not like you're going to know, but you can kind of tell, like, if you're moving around seems to make them more nervous, slow it down, maybe, check out an extra step, Another thing you can do is pretend, cough, like, oh man, I got the flu, hold up, I don't want to get you sick, things like that. It looks normal, and it doesn't look like you're afraid of them, it looks like actually you're trying to help them. So it's this weird way in which you're like conning people to maintain your boundaries, but it's useful. If they do end up actually becoming aggressive, if you are at 45 degrees, you've got this elbow, you've got a shoulder check, you can turn in, or you can run out very easily. So these are all very useful things you can do if someone's come up to you being weird and you're just not sure which way it's going to go. So, things to play with.